In this video, we are going to learn how to perform calculations on data. First, I will create some data and we'll start with assigning a name to a range of cells that has assumed data or information or content. So I'm just going to type some uh, values here. We can regard them as cost, as revenue, 200, 300, and 400. So 4 data points, I'm zooming in. Now we would like to assign a name to this set of data. The application is that, say you have a table which is 100 by 100 and you would like to sum up the values in this table. You can go and select all the cells and then you can perform a calculation function on that data that shortly we are going to learn how we can do that. Or rather than selecting the range of cells, you can assign a name to that range of cells, and you can just use the sum function with the name that you have assigned to that set of data. So rather than selecting data, you assign a name to that set of data, and then you just work with the name when you would like to use different formulas or functions to perform calculations on that set of data. So let's see what that exactly means. We would like to assign a name to this set of data. There are 4 numbers here, and we would like to assign, for example, cost as the name to represent this set of data. The first step is to select the data. To select data, we will go to the center of the cell, one left click, hold on to it, and then drag it to right. And then let it go. Now we have selected 4 cells. We will go to Formulas, Formulas tab from the top part, one left click. Then we will go to Defined Names group. At the top it says Define Name. One left click on that, and then this box pops up. So it's asking for the name. I'm going to type cost. Now I press OK. Now you see that when I select now the 4 cells, at the top left corner, the name cost appears. That means that this set of cells or this set of values have assumed the title or name of cost. On the side here, I'm typing 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I select 1, 2, 3, and 4, you see that you see the cell address here, which is D4, where we started selecting this set of cells. But if you assign a name to it, for example, I'm assigning numbers as the name. Now press OK. See, D4 changed to numbers. So now we have basically we have 2 sets of data. We have assigned different names to them. This one is cost and this one is numbers. And when you select them, you see the name on the top left corner. Now, say that you have assigned a name to a table and you have named it cost. Then as you progress in the project, you see that you have got different types of cost. So you want to be more specific about what kind of cost you're assigning as name to a set of data. So in this case, we just use cost. But now you want to edit the name because these are your transportation costs. And maybe there's some other costs that are called marketing. So you want to distinguish between these costs in your tables. You don't want to be just general as in assigning the name of cost to one set of data. So you can come back again, Formulas tab, and we have Name Manager. If you make a left click on that, it is going to recognize all the names that you have assigned to different sets of data. So we have cost and numbers that we have defined. You can delete them or you can edit them. See, we have option like edit and delete. So say we want to edit the name cost that we have assigned to this set of data, 100, 200, 300, 400. So we make a left click on cost, and then we make a left click on edit. Now it allows us to edit what we have already assigned as name to represent this set of data. So I'm going to put transportation. So I just type transportation underscore cost. It may not take a space as name, so that's why you should either have, attached words as in transportation cost that you see, or underscore. It may not take space as part of the name when you would like to assign a name to a set of data. So I put transportation underscore cost. Now I press OK. I left click on close. So now you see that when I select these, you've got transportation cost as the name that would appear on the top left corner. So this is how you can assign a name to represent a set of data, and how you can edit an already assigned name to the same set of data. So back to PowerPoint slides, how to create a named range and how to edit a named range. So we go to formulas, we click on name manager, and we edit or delete the name. These are just some highlights of what we just did. Now, creating formulas to calculate values. When you would like to start doing calculations, the very first thing you do is to put equal sign in that cell. So going back to our Excel file here, you would like to perform calculations in a cell. The first thing you do, you put equal sign. So say I would like to calculate, shortly we will see an example. I'm starting with putting equal sign, right? Now say I want to do the content of this cell, which is J6, plus the content of this cell, which is K6. See, say that is the calculation that you would like to conduct. So equal sign. Now I'm selecting the content of J6, just make a left click on it. Now I'm doing plus, that's from keyboard. And then I'm selecting the other cell and press enter. Now you have 300. Another example, equal. For example, you want to do the content of M6 cell minus the content of J6 cell. So equal sign, select the cell by making a left click on it. Now minus, that was from keyboard. And then I'm selecting this cell now and press enter. If you would like to multiply numbers, equal, I'm selecting the cell, multiply, that's from keyboard, and then select 300. Now press enter, 30,000. Now to multiply on my keyboard, I press shift and then I click on 8. Now that could be different on your keyboard, but that is the key combination I have on my keyboard to use multiplication symbol. If you would like to divide numbers, again, equal first, I'm selecting 400, divide, that's from keyboard that I select, and then I select 200 and press enter. Now you have 2. So all these operations you can conduct by first selecting a cell, then equal sign, then you can select the cells that you would like to perform calculations on. For example, it can be equal C2 plus C3. So that's the content of cell C2 plus the content of cell C3, or equal content of cell C2 minus content of cell C3. And again, the content will be selected when you make a left click on it. There are 5 common functions that are used in almost every single business. They're very powerful and they give a lot of information to managers and decision makers. Summation, average, count, max, and mean. These are the 5 common functions that are greatly used. For example, what's the total sales in this month? What is the average sales in the last 12 months? how many customers we have who have made purchases that are above $100. How many customers we have that they have made purchases that is between $350 and $850. What is the maximum sale in month of May? What is the minimum sale in the month of December? So as you see, these questions can relate or be applicable in any business, regardless of what the business is, what they're selling, and they will be useful information for the managers in these businesses. So we can use these functions to calculate or perform calculations on data. So I'm just back to our Excel file here. If you would like to use any of these functions as you're performing calculations, the first step would be equal sign. Now I'm typing sum. See, I haven't even finished typing sum, but as soon as you put that, you're going to receive a list. So see that sum appears here in the list. You can double left click on sum and it's going to give you the function. So I'm going to now double left click on sum from the list. See, now you have equal sum. It opens the parentheses. Now here you see syntax or arguments. Basically, this will help you. This will guide you when you're working with functions in Excel. So what you have here is equal sum, open parentheses. It says number one. That means what is the number one that you want to include in your summations. So rather than including one at a time, you can select the range. For example, I can select all these four numbers, and you know how we select cells. You go to the center, left click, hold on to it, drag it to right, and then let it go. So I select the four cells, and then as you see, transportation cost appears here because that is the name that we have assigned to that set of data. So now I close parentheses here, I close parentheses, and then press enter from keyboard. So the summation of 100, 200, 300, and 400 is 1,000. So as I mentioned earlier on the application of assigning name to a range of data, rather than selecting the data, you can just type the name. For example, equals sum. So this time I just typed sum. Sum appears here now at the top of the list. Double left click on it. Now rather than selecting data, I'm going to start typing, see, transportation cost is what I was going to type. As soon as I started putting TRA, you see that transportation cost actually appears. Now I'm going to double left click on it. Now you see that the data is selected in blue. So it recognizes that transportation cost is associated with this set of data. Now I close parentheses and press enter and I have 1,000. Now we can use the other formulas the same way. So equal average. So average appears at the top of the list. Now I double left click on average. It opens parentheses. As you recall, we defined a different name as well and assigned it to these four numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. We assigned the name numbers to this set of data, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to just type numbers. So N, U, see that's enough for numbers to appear in the list. Now, as you see, it is not selected yet because we have not selected numbers. But as soon as I select numbers, this set of data, 1, 2, 3, 4, is going to be selected. So I'm double left clicking on numbers. As you see, 1, 2, 3, 4 is now selected. Now I close parentheses and press enter. That's 2.5. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, that will give you 10. 10 divided by 4 because you have four numbers, and that would be 2.5, which is calculating the average for these four numbers. Now, the other ones, for example, we had count, so equal count. Count appears here, double left click. Now I'm going to put again numbers, close parentheses, press enter. There are four numbers, and that's why you receive number 4. Again, on the application of assigning names, this could be a table which is 1,000 by 1,000. we are just applying it to 4 numbers, but it would not make a difference application wise if you would like to assign, equal sum or equal average or equal count to a table which is 1000 by 1000. It may take you some time to scroll down and select, the data inside the table, which is that, 1000 by 1000 dimension wise. But when you just assign a name once, whenever that data changes, the function doesn't change. So when data changes, you're going to just get an updated number inside the function, because the function is going to show you, for example, if it's equal sum, that's going to show you the summation of whatever data you have in that range of cells. So when data changes, function doesn't mind that. So whatever data that you have or the data gets updated, the function which is defined over that set of range of data or cells, it's going to give you an updated summation number or value at the end. So the other one was equal max, which is the maximum number. So I'm going to select 100, 200, 300, and 400. Or I could just type transportation cost, close parentheses, press enter, and the maximum sale is 400. Again, we are applying this to 4 numbers. Imagine you have a database, which is the sales of your customers in the last month. Maybe there are 1,000 purchases. Maybe you have an online business and 1,000 people has made a sale. Imagine like how many people are shopping on Amazon.ca in the in every single minute that is passing. Maybe there's thousands of purchases globally that is being made. So if you just do equal max, and apply to the whole column or to the whole row, it's going to give you the maximum price. Of course, when we look at 4 numbers, it's obvious that 400 is max. But when you've got irregular numbers without any pattern, they have happened over different prices. Maybe you have a product which is $50. Maybe you have a product which is thousands of dollars. People are buying them from across the globe. So there's no really irregular pattern. They're just purchases being made. And by applying this function, you can find what's the maximum sale and what's the minimum sale. So equal min, that would be for minimum. Double left click on minimum and select the 4 numbers, close parentheses, and now you press enter and you get 100 as the minimum number. Now, one thing I mentioned here again, that the function represents the calculation that you would like to be applied to a set of data. So when you do sum, it is going to sum, for example, in this case, if the 100 changes to say 200, wherever we had defined the summation over this set of data, now that has been updated automatically. I think it was here, yes. See, I made a left click here. This is where, now I'm looking in the formula bar. This is where we had put the summation function. So that was summation function over this set of data. So we had 100, 200, 300, and 400. The summation was 1,000. Now, data got updated, one of them, from 100 to 200. As you see, the summation function also, the value-wise, got updated. So this is the good thing about using functions. They don't care about the content. They care about the cells in which you would like to perform a calculation. So for example, if this 400 changes to 4,000, I press enter. See, the summation changed now to 4,700, which is 200 plus 200 plus 300, which is 700, plus 4,000, which is 4,700. So any calculation that we have done using these numbers, all of them are going to be updated. When you update any number, all of them, one of them, 3 of them, say like, for example, we change this to 2,000. As you see, different numbers are changing. For example, this one was J6 multiplied by L6. So L6 is 300 and J6 is 2,000. right? So 2,000 multiplied by 300, that's 600,000. So that changed. Now this number changed, which is the summation of these numbers. 3,000 plus 200 plus 300 plus 4,000, that's 6,500. So as you see, you can have a table and maybe you have defined different functions using different data from that table. When the data in that table changes, all these functions will give you an updated value. That's basically the point that we would like to get here. So you can have different functions. The functions don't care about content. They care about the domain, the range of cells, right? So when the data changes, the function gives you an updated value, meaning you don't need to update the formula unless you want to change it. For example, say in this one, this cell M3, we, for example, did M6 divided by K6, which is 4,000 divided by 200, which is 20. You would only want to edit this if you mean to edit the formula. So say like you say, well, I didn't mean to divide that. I meant to multiply that. You will treat that as editing the content in any cell that we have studied before. So you have defined a function, which is M6 divided by K6. Now you think, no, I meant to multiply that. So what you can do is that you need now to edit the content of the cell in which you have defined a formula. In this case, it's this cell. Make a left click on it, then come to the formula bar. Now, rather than divide, delete divide, and now put multiply. Now, you mean to edit the formula and then press enter, and now you've got 200 multiplied by 4,000, which is 800,000. So unless you mean to edit a formula, you will not need to touch the formula when data changes. You get a new sheet of data on sales. The formula is still there. That is going to give you an updated number on the sales from this month to that month. So that's a good thing about working with formulas. The bottom line here is that the formulas don't care about the content. They only care about the range, about the domain. So when data changes, the formula gives you an updated value.